Welcome. I am Amy Crane, and I am the president of Rotation.org's board of directors. And on behalf of the board, I would like to welcome you all to our coffee chat on using AI tools in Christian education. We are grateful for our supporting members in particular who, through their support, enable us to do things like this. We will be moving fast today because we have a lot of material to cover. Everything will be shared on our website. A lot of things are linked there, and I will be sending you an email afterwards with links to our site to all that registered. And we will also be sharing a video that might take a few days before that is available for those of you who want to rewatch or share it with members of your team. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to our panel, which is led by board member Ian Grimm, and I'll let you do the other introductions.
Yeah. Hey, my name's Ian. On the board, like she was saying, and I actually kind of lead the coffee chat portion of that board. And so we're kind of we've been doing these for a while, but we wanted to kind of get specific in some certain things. And so AI was one that a lot of people were interested in. And so we kind of put this together with myself, Neil, and then Ron, and I'll let them introduce themselves in just a sec. But I'm a children's pastor at a multi-site church. So I'm a campus children's pastor at a multi-site church in North Dallas area. And so I kind of tell you that because you're going to find like the backgrounds of the three of us are all pretty different. And but we're all have a passion for kids ministry and using technology in kids ministry and stuff. And so so I've been in ministry about 20 years and recently stepped into a full-time kind of children's pastor role. And so running with that. So excited to be here with you guys. And so I'll kick it over to Neil real quick.
Um, Welcome, everybody. My name is Neil McQueen, and I'm a Presbyterian minister. Served in a number of congregations over the years. I'm retired. I'm also the webmaster and one of the lead writers and content editors at Rotation.org. Had a hand in founding both Rotation.org and the workshop rotation model. So I'm always approach subjects like this from a multiple intelligence and informed point of view, creative teaching point of view. And of course, some people know me from my work with my Sunday software company, where we made a lot of different interactive software. So part of my heart is learning how to teach kids with new technology, this being one of the newest.
All right. And hello.
Hey,
I'm Ron Shively. I'm the newbie on AI.
Brand new.
I'm
He actually did
brand
some work
spanking new.
in the last week that we're going to show you
Right.
guys a little bit of. So
he's
here we
lying.
go.
He's been a techie pastor for as long as I've known him. So he's
Techie, but not AI filled.
Yeah. AI is
ah,
different. So if you're here
AI is
and
different than
you're like,
techie.
I'm a tech, I like tech, I use tech a lot. This will be an easy step for you into AI, but it is different. And we're going to talk a little bit about some of the differences as we move forward. But Brian, tell us a little bit about where church wise and background wise.
I am the senior pastor of Emmanuel Evangelical Church in Needville, Texas. And I've been here for 6.5 years. Been using technology with Rotation Sunday schools now for about 20 years. And that's just kind of a brief overview. We've been also been on the board of directors for the Rotation.org for about 4 or 5 years now.
Nice. All right. Well, we're go to Neil here in just 1 second. Again, though, so we call different backgrounds. Ron is brand new to AI. He hasn't really spent much time with it at all. Neil is kind of our deep dive guy. He has spent a lot of time with it. A lot of time looking at the big picture of AI. And myself, I use it almost every day, but I use it to optimize things. I use it to save time and stuff like that. So we all kind of use it in different capacities and things like that. And that's what's cool about it is it allows you to do a lot of different things and helps fill in whatever needs you have with different tools and things like that. So Neil, go ahead and let's go and start rolling through this PowerPoint.
yeah. So I started in 2023 in the beginning, starting to play around with AI tools, mainly because I was having to manage and edit a lot of content, and also just my techie software background. I was really interested in what these things could do for with kids. And I love this slide because this really explains how we got here. We finally created a tool that a computer we can talk to, and more importantly, that can talk back and have a conversation with us. And to say that it's going to revolutionize and is revolutionizing computing and websites and information and content creation and management and editing and the way we search and we learn, I think that's going to be the understatement of the century. It's the difference between going from horses to cars, and IBM typewriters to word processing. So I think, but I blame the 60s because we all started imagining. Some of you remember the 60s. I remember the 60s, unfortunately. It's what got it. It's what it was really the vision. And I think we're living through some of those promises and dreams realized right now. So why would anybody want to use an AI tool in their ministry? I came to the realization when I started editing a lot of my own stuff that, you know what, Neil, you're not as creative a writer as you thought you were. I get edited also by a lot of volunteers at our website when we're working on the writing team. They're always coming in and saying, hey, Neil, this grammar isn't right or this punctuation isn't right. And so one of the number one reasons I use AI editing tools is because I've had a humbling experience that I need help not only communicating better, but being more concise. I'm a creative thinker. I'm a creative teacher. I'm not really a creative writer or a great editor. I don't know how to draw. Lord, give me the talent to draw, to illustrate. I can't do it. And yet I'm responsible for creating a lot of graphics. Most of these graphics on this presentation, by the way, were created by me in AI with a little bit of Photoshop help. I manage this website, but I'm not a coder. I can't stand spreadsheets. I need help making infographics. And so like a lot of you in Christian education and church staff and volunteers, and we've got all these things that we are expected to do and frankly need to do well. Mediocrity is killing the vibe in the church. It has for a long time, and we need to do better in all aspects of how we communicate and engage people. And of course, we never have enough time, and nobody trained. I didn't take a course in this in seminary. None of you did. So to me, that's the basic premise of why we should be interested in these tools, because we need to do a better job serving God through our congregations and communicating and teaching. And also, I've added the last thing here at the end is some of us, like me, like Ron, like Ian, we love teaching kids with new and different types of tools. And that includes techie tools. We're coming from a workshop rotation model point of view where any creative medium that engages kids, gets them to focus, gets them to create, gets them to problem solve, discuss, all those things, that's a good teaching medium. And we don't want to just stick with one. We're way beyond popsicle sticks and crafts. So that's kind of where I'm coming from.
Yeah, and I think you touched on a really key word there. Tools, right? AI is just more tools in your tool belt to do the things that you need to get done on a weekly, monthly, yearly basis. It helps organize, it helps facilitate, it helps in a lot of different ways. ChatGPT, when people ask me about it, I tell them, like, think of ChatGPT as basically a word calculator, right? You can dump all of your thoughts into it, and it can help you sort through and organize in a way that maybe you struggle with, right? So, and ChatGPT is one of the biggest tools out there right now that you can utilize. But just remember that as we kind of work through this and talk through this, these are tools, right? And so, just like any tool, it can have benefits, or if it's in the wrong hands, it can be destructive. But prayerfully and with the guidance of the Spirit, we're going to use them in wise ways and in healthy ways to help grow the ministries of our church and the kingdom of God. And that's what we're focused on. So, Neil, what kind of tools we got here?
Well, if you're not aware of all the different names of these tools, if we were to fast forward 5 years from now, about half of these would be gone, and there'd be 10 times as many more. I mean, the number of AI tools that are out there that you can use, and the way it's being hyped and advertised, and buy this and subscribe to that. We put together this list of some of the main tools, and in particular, some of the tools that we feel like we can trust. That's a
Yeah.
big issue. Who's
Long
behind
term. I
some of
think
these?
trust long term is probably
Yeah, yeah.
a good way to look at that too.
What's the company ethics? What are the company ethos?
Mhm.
What's their direction? You may be familiar with some of these. Some of these you may not be familiar with. Um, I mean, we've been using for years. We've been using Grammarly on our website to type in and correct content, and it's now has all sorts of AI tools built into it. And some of you may be familiar with search engines where they started putting the AI responses above, which is kind of an interesting way to use AI. But all of these programs and many more are going to be integrated into virtually every kind of software you want to use because it's such a
Mhm.
powerful way to interface with any program and any kind of workflow or creative activity. We're going to look at a little bit of Chat GPT, Canva AI. I'm going to show screenshots of a few of these. There's
Some coloring book
Claude is a
hero
real big
thing.
one. What's that?
Do you use some coloring book hero for some of the
I
is
have a
that some of the
special
logos and
page
stuff, or is
later
it?
to where
Oh,
I've
okay,
turned
okay,
all of
okay.
this into a coloring book.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we'll be selling
So
that picture of the three of us for sure.
Cool.
yeah, and when you look at this, when you look at this list, you have things that are primarily text based. So ChatGPT is while you can use voice interface, it's primarily a text based. Canva is for graphics and bulletins and anything that you put on a screen that you want people to look at is Canva does a lot of that stuff. CapCut is for video type stuff. Leonardo AI is image generation. And so, like we were saying before, like there are tools for literally every aspect of
Everything,
what you do.
everything you want to do. The
And
most important thing Ian was saying is text. And I'll go back to that picture Captain Kirk talked in the computer. The really great thing about AI tools is you don't have to learn menus or code
Mhm.
or any fancy ways of, it doesn't take you 3 hours to learn a program or 3 days or 3 weeks. You can literally open up ChatGPT and start asking questions and it will start responding to you. That's
Yeah,
that's really what these generative AI
yeah.
programs, these creative programs is
And by
you
the way,
can
before you
talk
do
to them.
that,
Oh,
ChatGPT will walk you through how to use all of these other programs as
oh,
well. It
good.
will help teach you and things like that. So, yeah, talk about what is generative AI.
So there are a lot of different types of AI. There's the Terminator AI. There's that runs Skynet, of course.
Personal favorite of mine. Yeah.
And then there's the generative. There's types of AI that manage power grids and that can run cars, autonomous cars and all that kind of stuff. But there's this category called generative AI, which is basically it's the G in GPT. Um, it's a program that can create. It can work with text. It can format text. It can answer your responses, create responses. And so think of it like it's like an office assistant or a search assistant or a teaching assistant. You can ask it to, hey, I need 10 great ideas for this. Generate them for me. And that's different than agentive AI, which are sort of the more notorious ones, although albeit it's a really great thing to have AI managing your power grid because it can do it 100 times more efficiently than the old, popping a switch guys out there.
Mhm.
Some of you have seen AI as the top of your Google search results. That's really not what ChatGPT and Gemini are best at. They can search the web. But they've been trained, and that's the P in GPT. They've been pre-trained on millions and millions and millions of documents, websites, books, articles, blogs. And so they have there's like the world's largest library. And when you ask it a question, it looks at that information and then creates for you basically a summary. It can draw on all of that and talk to you in a sort of a natural way, provide you results and allow you to format it. That's the key, natural language, whether you're typing poorly or talking to it in voice mode, you can just blibber away with your fingers and AI can figure out what it is you're trying to say. We'll talk about a little bit later about what's the better way to use AI, how to instruct it, how to prompt it to get better results. one of the big questions is it cheating or is it copying? No, it only copies if you ask it to quote or if you say, show me this on a website. But it's taking what it has been trained with, and it's sort of like being an artist going into the Louvre, looking at a Rembrandt, and then coming home and saying, I'm going to paint like Rembrandt. I'm going to paint. It's a great imitator. It understands language, it understands concepts, it understands art. And so it aggregates and creates content based on what it knows. And that's what makes it such a great writing coach and editor. It knows the English language super well and can make you sound better because it has at its disposal all of these great examples of how to say things a little bit better, a little bit more interestingly. To put it mildly, it's good stewardship to be more efficient and to be better at your writing and better at your answers and all that. But I love this drawing over here of this pastor. Sometimes pastor, that's cheating. Brainstorming with AI, that's cheating. Well, we use resources. We've been using resources in Sunday school and youth group for forever. This is kind of the same thing on AI steroids.
It's an AI My Blue Letter Bible page. That would be lovely. So
yeah,
so
it can
Mary Ann
actually
posted a great comment in the chat bar. If you guys want to go read that kind of way she's using it, that's a really good stuff. I want to point out real quick, AI is technology. And while it is fantastic, technology is not always perfect. It does not always do exactly what we want it to do. Case in point, you see the little gray bars on the screen there that are covering stuff up. Those are Neil's Zoom tabs that are open, but because he's sharing a screen, it won't show those. And there's no good way to kind of move those around. And so that is just a really good example of why tools are so fantastic, but also don't just hand stuff over to AI or technology to just do its own thing. Because, they're in ChatGPT will tell you every time you log on, it will make mistakes. It will mess up. It's rare that it's a big mistake, but it's always something you want to check, right? So don't ever just trust what it's spitting out on its own. And that's just a good case in point there. You still got to adjust stuff. You still got to move through that. So
it particularly makes mistakes in graphics because it doesn't right now. A year from now, we're not going to be having this conversation. AI will have figured out how to put text in graphics and always get it right. But there's no spell checker when it's making a graphic that the engine that's running that doesn't have a spell checker. So anytime I'm making graphics, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's got all these misspellings, and so I have to be able to go in and fix things. So yeah, it's not perfect, but we're really just on the cusp of its beginnings, and they are squashing bugs all the time.
Sure.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Let's go on here. For those of you, we're just going to run through a couple of quick screenshots for those of you who are like, what is ChatGPT? What does this thing look like? Here's a great example. I wanted to come up with a snazzy welcome to our PowerPoint presentation. And I came up with something sort of dry and churchy. And I said, hey, make this more engaging, fun, friendly tone. And I could have said, shoot me out 5 options, shoot me out 10 options. Change the tone, don't use these words. And because it's basically a huge language engine and has all this great library at its resource, it can shoot back all sorts of stuff to punch up what you're doing. I almost never use, when I'm using, let's say I'm editing a lesson or editing an article, I never just say, okay, revise this and then copy and paste that entire thing in. What I mainly do is say, show me some examples. And I'll pick and choose. I'll copy and paste from the results because I'm like, hey, that says it better, and I'm not going to be I'm not possessive about, oh, it has to come from me. No, it has to communicate better. That I think is the real goal there. So there's a lot of you start chats. It's even got some built-in special project chat things, like you can build logos with it. It keeps a list of things that you've been doing. right now it's kind of elementary. It's kind of rudimentary interface, but expect it to just get more and more complex in terms of
Yeah.
organized better. Let's put it that way. But
And the more
essentially,
you use it as an individual, the more it learns your style, your tendencies and things like that as well. So it also learns as you're using it. So the more you use it, the better it will be for you.
yeah, that's where that's a fantastic point. When I'm editing something, it'll sometimes just say, "Would you like that as a handout for Bible study or Sunday school?"
Right.
Because it knows that's
Yeah.
the kind of stuff. Or when I'm creating something in a cartoon style of a Bible character, it already knows what stuff I've liked because I've told it. And you can always just keep talent try. It will give you results ad infinitum, which is
Yeah.
really fantastic. There's another terrific text editing tool called Claude. It's from Anthropic, not my favorite company, but man, they've built a fantastic generative AI program. And you can literally see, most of these you can use the free models. If you pay a monthly subscription to Claude or ChatGPT or some of these, what you get is more computing power, more tries, faster results, especially during peak times. So if you're using it on a regular basis, it's a pretty good deal to pay for it. I pay $20 a month for ChatGPT Pro. Claude's the same thing. Claude is real. I don't know if any of you do any website development and do code. Claude is particularly good at figuring out code. I could literally type into this interface, say, "Hey, I want to build a gallery of 5 images that just rotates on my church homepage. Write me the script for that," and it will. And then you just copy that script, paste it in your website, and you're like, "How do it know that?" And it's because it's been trained on millions of lines of code and resources, and it just keeps getting better and better, that kind of stuff. Here's a screenshot of Canva AI. I think
Personal favorite of mine.
yeah. And do you remember when it wasn't AI?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So it used to
do.
be a lot of complex menus.
Yep.
And now you can just go in and tell it, "Hey, I want to create a logo for our youth group taco festival coming up or whatever," and you can go back and forth with it to refine that just by typing what it wants, and it goes, "Okay." Whereas before you had to get all you had to do a lot of heavy lifting. Is that cheating or is that good stewardship? I think it's good stewardship, because who has the time to learn all these tools in depth? Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite. Like, even stuff for this one, even this Saturday, I was driving home with my 9-year-old and he was bored. So I gave him my phone with the Canva app open and pulled him up to the AI generator and just said, "Have fun, like create." He's like, birthday cakes and stuff. And he just started creating and kind of using his imagination with that. So yeah, so it's a great tool.
Canva has a free nonprofit version. We signed up for it at rotation.org so that our board can use it, but
Yeah.
any organization could. Nothing's truly free, because anything they give you for free, they're going to place some usage limits on.
Yeah.
So, but for the most part, at least right now in 2025, probably through 2026, they're really interested in getting you to use this and be happy with
Yeah.
it. So it's a good
Yep.
time to go in and explore without a lot of limitations. They haven't punked it yet.
So, and then the next one you have there is Opus, I think. Is that the next little slide?
There are a bunch of these kinds of tools. So I first learned about Opus from a non-techie pastor that I used to serve with. He started posting his sermons on their Facebook page, but he was posting little short clips. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, to create little short clips of video in like Adobe Premiere, that's really time intensive. And you're not a computer genius. How did you do that?" And he goes, "Oh, I just uploaded my entire sermon video to Opus, and it created a transcript. It heard what I said, created a transcript of it, and the AI figured out what the different sections of my sermon were and cut those into clips, and then added the letter." You see this all over social media now and all over YouTube. This is what people are doing. They're using AI to take these huge clips, what used to take hours and hours to divide everything up. literally takes, well, to do videos a little bit longer, like 4 or 5 minutes.
Mm.
And the interfaces are just like, again, you're just like, here's my clip. I want to split this into 10 different clips. Go. And AI
Yeah.
kind of takes over and does it for you.
Yeah. So I know for me, like, we talked about at the very beginning, I use it to optimize my time. I have a very large role and a lot of responsibilities, and AI is what allows me to get everything that I need to get done in a day because it does save time and energy. It keeps me from brain drain. It keeps me from struggling through a lot of stuff. And that tool, Opus, like that, is the perfect example of that because it does something that like you said would take literally would take you hours to do otherwise, and you can do it in just a moment. So
Yeah, it took this 1 hour video and split it into 42 clips,
mhm.
gave each one a title and a transcript, and and transcribed what he was saying on the screen. Are you going to use all 42 clips? No. And then it gives you links where you can just upload them to your social media or
Yep.
save them on your computer. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah, if you don't have social media, I think we have a coffee chat for that as well in the past. I don't know
Yeah.
if not
Hey,
in the
Ian, this
future.
next one, a ClickUp, is one of the ones that you recommended, sort of a workflow Teams kind of tool out there.
Yep. So that's one that I've used a little bit. And I think so. One of the cool things, like the one I use the most is probably Canva. I do a lot of image generation, but not even just image generation. I've used Canva for years. I actually have a really good friend who happens to be one of like 40 Canva experts in the whole world. So I'm like, Jeff, dude, what am I doing wrong? How do I fix this? Right. So he's like my Canva AI because he just knows it all. Right. But what's really cool about a lot of these things is it's collaborative, right? So you can add people into your account, and multiple people can be working on it and stuff like that, and it will differentiate between that, and it'll help you organize a lot of those things. And so just a lot of really incredible tools. Those are 4 or 5 of the kind of the easier ones to get involved in. Real quick, Ron's going to share some stuff in a little bit that he did, but Ron, which of these tools did you start literally just this past week start looking into?
I've only been involved with the Chat GPT so far.
Okay. And so how
And
was it? How was it just kind of off the rip, like learning it as you went?
well, it was interesting because my wife and I started converting pictures into cartoons.
Uh-huh.
And talk about learning things. We've got a beagle dog, and so she started with a picture of the beagle dog, and then we had a family picture that had our beagle in it. Well, then she converted another family picture that didn't have the beagle dog, and it automatically inserted the beagle into that picture. And so
Right.
it learned that we have a beagle in the family, and so it started adding that in. So it was just kind of cool. As you were talking about, it learns things about you and then
Mhm.
starts to adapt accordingly.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you can tell it not to do stuff like that. I think
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah,
secret sauce in all these programs is,
It's not the
yeah,
boss of you. You're the boss of it
yeah.
still.
yeah,
So
yeah.
like
Well,
yeah.
we're going to take a break here just for a second and do a little bit of historical perspective before we start running through a lot of different things that you can do with AI in your ministry and teaching. Um, and I think we're all teachers and communicators. Part of what we do in the church is we explain to people, the culture and how to interface with it. And there's always a little bit of resistance, especially in the church, to anything new. And it's important to just remember that we've been here before as human beings. Some people just don't get it, and what I would just say is that's okay. That's okay. Just don't get in the way. I think that's one of the real big differences. Um, when I was looking at this, making this cartoon of this guy back in my day, we didn't need all that. I realized I'm that guy back in the day. I'm the guy with the film strip projector and the transparent and the beach ball, discussion thing and the crayons and the donuts and the puppets. And so there's that kind of resistance sometimes where people look at something new and they say, well, I never needed that. Um, and yet they used other things, and all we're doing is saying, yeah, and here's another thing you can use. It happens to be, especially when you're using it with kids, it's super engaging and focusing, and
Mhm.
it's now. I mean, I would use a basketball as teaching technology if kids would light up when they saw it
Yeah.
and want to talk and create with it.
Yeah,
Um,
and you can move the little bar there, but it basically says accepting change and learning new tools is hard for some people. And that's, the more we learn about stuff, the more we have to learn about stuff. It's just kind of the way that stuff works. And so I remember we said at the start, these are all tools, right? They aren't good or bad on their own. They are tools, and they're going to help you in a lot of ways if you'll trust them. But like you said, we've been here before. We were here with
yeah.
using the internet and online services. We've been here with social media. We've been here with. I'm sure somebody was there with whatever those things where you put up on the thing that shine the light up on the wall, right?
Transparency
Before
projector.
I was born, right? Transparencies or felt boards or whatever, right? Like we don't need felt
Exactly.
boards. We've got finger puppets or whatever. You know what I mean? So, and we don't want to make light of that because obviously, you know, we all work through that at different times and things like that. But I think what if you are hesitant, obviously spend some time spiritually praying through this and really asking God for wisdom. And then if it's just you have trouble learning, I would say it's incredibly intuitive. Just jump in. Just ChatGPT. Just even if it's just like, hey, find me a recipe for this. I've got this in my closet, in my pantry. What can I eat? Right, and just start talking with it and doing it. So,
Yeah.
new
There's a,
languages, love
I
it.
love this. I go back to Acts 2 all the time when we started the rotation model, people were like, "Hey, that you shouldn't be doing that new. You're going to ruin publishing, or kids need to stay in the same class all the time." And when we started teaching with computers, they were like, "Yeah, that we shouldn't be using that language. We shouldn't be using that teaching medium." And it's a sobering reminder that this is something we in the church and frankly in the culture we face people who, because they don't understand it or don't want to use it or don't want to take the time with it, or their thing is something else, they tend to want to poo-poo what you're talking about, what you're thinking of using. And here's what's interesting. The number of church members who think that their pastors aren't using it is like, Barna Research did a poll last year, and the church members think their pastors aren't using it. In 2024, 48% of church pastors were using AI. And they also asked them, can God use AI too? Can God speak through, can God help, be found through this tool? And 71% of them said, yeah. And that was last year, back before really people were really grabbing onto this. So in some ways, pastors are early adapters. And educators and teachers, we tend to be ahead of the curve because we want to be communicators and we want to get things done. And frankly, I think most of us are just curious people,
Sure.
curious and creative people.
Yeah, and I think when we talk about the mission of the church and the kingdom of God, I think it's too big and too important to set things aside without at least exploring the viability of it as a tool and things like that to get the message across. I kind of told Neil and Ron this as we were talking through this. We always talk about new technology, and the reality is that when Jesus came on the scene, one of the most important things that had happened was Rome had built roads literally all over the known world. And Rome, we could all look back and say, was probably not the greatest empire to ever ever be on the face of the earth, and they did a lot of evil things. But Jesus probably did not go find game trails or things like that to walk. He used the roads that were available to him, because our God is a God of redemption, and our God is spiritual and powerful in all of these things, including AI, in these moments. And he's going to use them for his glory. If we will, like Neil said, maybe get out of the way and allow God to do some incredible things with this.
Speaking of getting out of the way, I was just looking at my clock. I can't believe it's almost 1:40.
We're getting there.
Here. I'm going to rip through like the next couple of slides here. As you can tell, this PowerPoint is going to be available to you as a PDF. We've got a ton of articles up the website. We'll be adding more. So if you feel like you missed something or want to talk about something more, there's a space and place to do it. I know people have concerns. Oh my gosh, I have concerns. We're looking at disruption in the workplace. We're looking at AI's effects in the environment. I would just point out that's one of the big bugaboos, I think, for a lot of people in the church is, and I just want to point out one thing, and that this graphic kind of explains it. So, people around here are always complaining about new data centers they're building. 70% of data center use is for all of us in our streaming television and video. It's not for AI. In terms of total consumption of electricity, if we really are concerned, we need to be looking at things like EV cars and air conditioning and cell phones and laptops and TVs. I mean, it's AI right now is a fraction of all that. But people like to take shots at the new guy and don't want things built in their backyard. I get that. If you have
Yeah.
those kinds of concerns, stay at the end of the meeting and we'll talk a little bit more about them. I don't want to argue them, but I will help you with some facts if you're open to them.
So what are some ways that we can use AI in our work? Let's get to that slide, 'cause I think that's what a lot of people are here for. So let's run with some of that. What are ways that we use it, Neil? What do we got there?
Well, obviously, I'm just cherry picking too, just managing
Mhm.
your work. Ian, you've talked about a couple of things.
Mhm.
It's terrific at brainstorming. Hey, give me 10 great
Mhm.
ideas.
Yeah.
It's terrific at creating graphics. It's been trained on millions of lesson plans. So of course, if you say, give me a lesson plan, I'm not, does a creative teacher use anybody's lesson plans lock, stock, and barrel? No, I would argue that
No.
the more creative you are, the more likely you are to adapt and evolve
Mhm.
whatever you're given. But AI is right now even generate some basic lesson plans,
Yeah.
not as good as the writing
I
team.
use this, and I'll give you guys a specific example. We're in the middle of our group season, and we were doing lessons on the Good Samaritan, and we were supposed to do 4 weeks on the Good Samaritan. We had a really horrible thing that has happened in our church that's taken up a lot of time and energy. And so I was like, I'm not gonna be able to write a fourth lesson for this. And so what I did was I took the 3 previous lessons I'd written, copy and paste them, put them in the chat GPT and said, hey, I need a night of review for these lessons that we did. Give me a couple games, couple activities, give me a scoring system for all of that. And it literally spit out a whole lesson of just review with questions. And then I was able to go and now I'm not brainstorming, I'm reading through and helping to make sure that it works really well. And that was like a lifesaver over the last 2 weeks, right? So that's the
Yeah.
type of thing that you can use it for.
If you want, I used it recently to give me 10 ideas for a children's sermon.
Mhm.
And with props and questions for first graders. That's a thing. A lot of teachers, a lot of pastors have trouble, coming up, rephrasing the question for a first
Yeah.
grader. Well,
Yeah, making age specific is
age
huge.
specific stuff.
Yes.
And we actually have used a little bit of that in our last writing team. We had written a script. One of our writers had written a script, and we said, "Hey, ChatGPT, what's the age level of this script? What's the age level of this handout?" And it gave us some really good suggestions. Those are
Mhm.
things that that your teachers don't know everything, and they could use that kind of help. I mean, obviously, if you just want to use it for training teachers, it's great at helping you come up with guides, safety lists. Um, I want to role play a scenario. A kid gets hurt at church. Let's come up with a role play. What are the procedures we should follow? And it will suggest things. Um, Obviously, you can create cartoons to teach points because sometimes a picture is worth 1,000 words. Um, and just showing your teachers, hey, if you want to teach this story and you don't have a great, you don't have, you don't have a good storybook or you don't like the way it's written, you want something a little more creative for your first graders, and all you have is the fifth grade version, say, put it through ChatGPT and train them to do that. As
Yep.
Ian said, it's also great for creating quizzes. It'll give you game ideas. It pretty much anything a teacher might want to do before they get in the classroom, it can help you do that.
Yep. So those are some specific ways there. This list here, like I said, you're going to get the PDF, so I'm not going to go through all this, and a lot of them we've already touched on. But I wanted to break it down for you, based off of like friendliness for beginners, because I think a lot of you guys, some of you guys are really well versed in this already, but some of you guys are starting off fresh. And so this list here, by the way, list created by AI to
Yay!
help do this, right?
Yeah.
But beginner friendly, and then also freed with paid upgrades, things like that. And again, like we said, the very onset, we were talking about tools. Some of these within the next month are going to be totally different. They're going to be gone. But that's why kind of learning and staying on the edge of it and the cusp of it, knowing what's coming down the pipe will be really helpful. My personal favorites, like I said before, Canva, ChatGPT, are the ones I use the most. And I actually I don't pay for ChatGPT, because for a lot of reasons, but right now I don't have a need for it. But I generate all my images with Canva. And what you'll find is you have a data limit basically, and creating images chews up data a lot faster than just creating words or thoughts and things like that. And so I use I use Canva for my images. And so that's why I don't necessarily have to pay for ChatGPT. It is a little outdated, because what Neil was saying, it's been trained on certain things. The original ChatGPT, I believe, didn't like it only knew the internet up till like 2019 or something like that. So like you could imagine,
2024.
was it, well, yeah,
2024.
whatever point it was the original time. So if it was like newer stuff, it'd be like totally out of date, right? But that's why you use it for specific things, and just be aware of its limitations. So
That's
uh,
changed. That's changed just in the last since I've been using it just in the last 6 months.
mhm,
It used to be they trained it on all this material and then they stopped training it.
yeah,
And then they added the ability to search live web and also use
yeah,
the live web, what's
yep.
new and what's out there. So
I
it's
also
caught up.
know
Caught up.
ChatGPT will have trouble getting behind paywalls, and I think rightfully so. I mean, we're all creators here, and we understand the value of what you've created. And when you have it behind a paywall, you don't want somebody just to be able to come in and just rip it from you.
Right.
ChatGPT, for the most part, won't, like,
Can't.
you can't get it to dive behind Rotation's paywall for things like that. And so so that I know people are worried about that at times, but just be aware that if it's behind a paywall, you're not going to have access to it unless you have the ability to copy and paste and give it, because
Yeah,
you have
yeah.
paid for it. So
This next slide, we've sort of talked about a couple of these things. Here's the big idea. Anything that I can do with ChatGPT or Canva AI, I want to figure out how my kids can do that in a
mhm,
classroom setting, because I want them doing exploring the story, being creative with it, analyzing, parts of the story, the prodigal son, and, what would be a better response for the older brother. I want them to be doing the reflecting. I don't want to just create a reflection in ChatGPT and share that with the kids in the old-fashioned way. I want them to create the material. I want to be a facilitator, not a lecturer in the Sunday school. ChatGPT has a lot of good guardrails and filters. Some of the AI programs out there don't. For example, Grok from Elon Musk, not safe for work or for church. But so make sure your tools have some of the guardrails built into them if you're using them with kids. It's great at saying, okay, let's take these words from Micah 6:8. What does it mean to be humble? What does it mean to be merciful? Give me, kids, come up with a scenario that shows kindness, or
yeah.
that come up with a little skit that plays it. Ask ChatGPT to give you a prompt for a little skit or scenario to illustrate that word. So anything I can do with it, I want to see if my kids can do it. Um,
And they
and
probably can better than we can already.
Oh
So
my gosh, yeah, they're native. They're really native to this.
yeah.
I want to put in a plug for those of you who know about the Bible Computer Lab, the computer workshop. For somebody who's been doing that since 1991, when I look at these AI tools, what I see is a culmination of all the things that I've been hoping for and have been trying out in a lot of other software, KidPix, Let's Talk, software where the kids with this one program can pull in the Bible study material, ask questions, be quizzed with it, create graphics for it, come up with life application questions for it. By the way, this freaks me out all the time. ChatGPT and programs like Claude, they're great at forming life application questions. And I know from working with a lot of volunteer teachers in our writing team over the years that some of them, that's not their strong suit, is coming up with a
Mhm.
life application question for a second grader. They're
Yeah.
good with maybe older kids or really young kids. And so I think we have a tool here to kind of cover what we're not good at. But yeah, I think ChatGPT, if I were to start a Bible computer lab today, I could start the entire workshop just around that one tool, just around
Mhm.
that one tool. So talk about saving money, and the kids are already using it, so they already know how to use it. Um, Lots and lots of different things. We're running with our running shoes on our mouth here. You'll see our listing of forum stuff over here on the left. I've been just I've been fire hosing topics, things that I've learned, things that I've experimented with up at our website. We're going to keep adding to it. All these things are graphics that I created in ChatGPT. Um, I was shocked when we were going through our Jonah material that when we asked it, hey, what would Jonah say to apologize to the worm and to God? And this is what it said. Pretty amazing. I started experimenting with the voice mode in ChatGPT. Can we get ChatGPT? Can the kids train it to lead a prayer? Tell it what they want and get it to pause and do like line out prayers so we follow along. So they're creating it, and against the tool is creating the engagement and excitement and the focus and the desire to come back.
Yeah.
Can it do Bible study? Oh my gosh, it has tremendous Bible study library that it can access. Again, I would, as far as you could throw it, but wow, for basic Bible study, it's kind of shocking. It
Yeah.
can make songs, it can make music, it can sing songs that the kids created.
Yep.
All sorts of amazing stuff. I'm gonna fly past this one. That okay, Ian and Ron?
Yeah.
This you can come back to later. I could use this for any Sunday school technique or medium. How do you know it's the right thing? Is the good news shared? The students engaged? Are they creating? Are they working together? These are all great things for any teaching medium, and we need to apply them to the use of AI. I am really not interested in just wasting time and making the kids happy. If I wanted to do that, I'd just keep bringing in donuts and Kool-Aid and throwing on their K-pop
Pizza
demons.
party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not there. We're all about teaching, and
Yep.
so we need to judge how we're using it.
Uh-huh.
This is a big long screen. Some of you are like, well, how do I get it to tell it? Ask it. Just type or turn into voice mode and say, what's the best prompt for editing this article if I want to make it more friendly, shorter, concise, or I don't want you to change anything. I just want to get the grammar right and punctuation right. And it will
Yeah.
come back and say, here, use this prompt.
Yeah, I think the big thing with especially ChatGPT and those type of things is you don't know it till you try it. It is incredibly intuitive. It literally will take you baby steps, and by the end of the week you'll know how to do so much stuff. You literally are just talking to it. And it will, like I said, it will teach you how to use other things. I use ChatGPT to get prompts for pictures that I put into Canva so that it looks right, it makes sense, and all that stuff.
You have
So
to be discerning about it. Sometimes
Mhm.
like I used it to fix a part on a tractor, and I knew that it had gotten something wrong. And when I told it had gotten something wrong, it said, "Oh yeah, sorry about that. Here's the correct answer."
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
getting
it's obviously again double check what you're doing and stuff with it. So yeah, so
but
let's jump
ask
to the
it.
next.
Ask it.
Yeah, ask it. Let's jump to this next thing because this is what Ron did, and I want Ron to get a little opportunity to share some of the stuff here that he kind of messed with. So
When I started learning a little bit about Chat GPT, I wanted to throw a couple curveballs at it just to see how things would react. And one of the first ones was I asked Chat GPT if it would create a painting of Jesus celebrating Hanukkah, and right away it shot back a response to me that that it couldn't do that because one, it couldn't create religious figures, and then two, something about Hanukkah, and that wasn't related. And I said, well, yes, it is. I said, Jesus celebrated Hanukkah in the Bible. And immediately it corrected itself and said, I'm sorry, you're right. And so it then created this image, not of Jesus, but in the of folks celebrating Hanukkah, supposedly in the time of Jesus at the temple. And so I
Yeah.
thought that was very interesting that AI, once you gave it the correct information or added additional information, it would change things around a little bit. I thought that was pretty cool.
It's a
But
great
then
image.
we learned.
Yeah.
What did
So,
we learn?
What did we learn?
What did
I'm
we
smarter
learn?
than I'm smarter than the computer.
It's, you know, I think we're laughing and going, it's surprising how much fun it is to work with it and create, see what it does and make changes. It's kind of, it's like play if you're interested in that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. It feels like play.
But what I was amazed at was how beautiful of a painting it created for that kind of scenario. The other pictures on the bottom of David, you recognize that pretty much right away of David the shepherd boy. But I asked ChatGPT, once again trying to throw a curveball, if they would create a painting based on Psalm 151. Of course, you know, Psalm 151 is a psalm that was in the Dead Sea Scrolls and in the Greek translation of the Old Testament, the Septuagint. But I didn't know what it would do with that. And right away, it came up with it gave me a verbal scenario of what I wanted to create, describing what the painting would be, which was all of the elements of what that psalm was about, and I thought that was so cool. So I went from oil painting to more modern, and then I decided, well, you know, the kids. If I had the kids in Sunday school, I'd want to go another step, not just have pictures, but I said, would you create a song based on Psalm 151? And I love it. Created a song that it entitled "From the Hills I Came," and I just want to read this to you because talk about the inspiration right here. From the hills I came, a shepherd boy, with a harp in my hand and a song of joy. The Lord looked down, he chose my name, not by strength nor sword, but his light I claim. Oh, sing, my soul, lift high on praise on high. The Lord is near, his hand will guide. He cast the mighty down to fall and raised the humble least of all. With sling and stone no warrior's might, but the Lord of hosts gave strength to fight. The giant fell, the earth did ring, and all glory to God I sing. Oh, sing, my soul, lift praise on high. The Lord is near, his hand will guide. He cast the mighty down to fall and raised the humble least of all. Not by power of kings, not by the pride of men, but by the Spirit of God, the victory is his again. Oh, sing, my soul, lift praise on high. The Lord is near, his hand will guide. He cast the mighty down to fall and raised the humble least of all. I thought that was just such an awesome song.
That's pretty good.
That it created from Psalm 151, which, you know, the story of David and Goliath and the story of the anointing of David, you know, but I thought, what a powerful thing, you know, and I could imagine having the kids create their own images of a Bible story and a song based off of that. And I thought this would be really cool.
You
thing.
can do it in pirate language. You can do it have third graders do it in the language of a toddler. And part of the learning process is you create it, you share it, you talk about it, and you can also recreate it with ChatGPT. You can say, okay, let's throw these ideas and see what it comes up with, and let's share and discuss that too.
Yep.
I mean, it's amazing that it knows it knows the Talmud, it knows the Hebrew Bible, it knows all the Greek translations. It's pretty shocking what it knows, and that just makes it a fantastic tool for people who it has deep research modes too. Some of these AI tools have specific modes you can click into to take you deeper. So it's pretty phenomenal. I just want to put in a plug for help me draft a short. Man, when people complain, sometimes back in the day, I'd be like, Adam, and so you can even use ChatGPT to make you less reactionary.
Yeah.
hey, if you like what you've seen, you can buy our coloring page. We'll be selling it at the end of the presentation. There's our original photo where I came up with the logo. Boy, don't we look great up there
Oh,
on
yeah.
the left. I said, make us a cartoon. I said, then I used the logo program, which is built into ChatGPT. I said, make it a logo. And then I said, oh, what about our K-pop World Tour version,
Yeah.
any style? And
Yeah.
then I said, give us bodies,
K-pop
but
team and
slim us down, please. AI is very generous to people.
Yeah.
Much
Much better than the camera that
yeah,
adds
and
10 pounds. AI takes away 10 pounds at
yeah, and
least.
this was all incredibly free. And if kids
Yeah.
wanted to make a coloring book of their lesson, they could do that with this simple little app built into ChatGPT. There's a bunch of them out online. Whatever you put on your computer or on your phone is also available at websites. There's no dividing lines anymore between apps, and so you could build a computer lab or try this in your Sunday school class using your cell phone or a tablet or a PC. You do need the internet. That's the main thing
Yeah.
to do all this, but you really don't even need any money to get started. I mean, when was the last time somebody said that to you? But go play with it.
Yeah.
It's fun. It gets you excited and begin to see the possibilities.
Yeah, thanks to you guys for those who have stuck it out this far. If you've got some questions, we'll answer some. Just real quick, Ronald put in the chat there specifically about creating things for adults that are very specific. There are some really good tools ChatGPT is where I would always start. Okay, but what you can do, I know, like Google Maps, things like that, you can build tours and things like that into Google Maps, where you can actually walk the path, right? Or you can kind of see where Jesus walked to go do these things. We've got an incredible lady on our board here, Samantha, who does a ton of that, and has created some really incredible things with that. But even so, like, just as an example, I'm like planning a trip, like to go somewhere, right? As a vacation. That's what a trip is. Obviously, y'all know that. But it's like, hey, ChatGPT, what's the best way to get here? What's the best route to take here? Then to go to the fun places. You could put that into ChatGPT, and it would tell you, hey, Jesus walked from this place to this place. It probably took him 3 days to get there, and you can kind of build a tour out with that. So
let's throw it open to if people want to unmute and
yeah, if anybody's got
ask
any
a
questions.
question, talk about how they've used it in their ministry. That's what we're here for.
Especially the other Neil McQueen.
Yeah, who is that guy? That's my AI. That's my AI avatar.
There actually were two more of you. Yeah. So
What?
I think
Yeah,
it's
it must be
not-
that.
People used the link on the webpage. I think that's what I did.
it's,
My
you
fault.
know, that's
Yep.
fine. It's okay.
But yeah, does anybody have any questions? Anything they saw that they want to know more about?
You all are overwhelmed, right?
That's right. There were
That's a
some
lot.
interesting comments shared too. I don't know if those people are still here. Let's see.
Yeah, Mary Ann seems to know what she's doing with AI, which is nice. So she got some work with it. So
Yeah. Somebody said at our website recently, they said, what's all this stuff about AI? I don't think we should be using it. Rotation.org covers a lot of subjects. And this just happens to be one that's a little bit hot and I got interested in, and we were actually using with some of our writers and our website. And I think we want to kind of keep that conversation going, and sort of follow this through until this becomes so normal. Nobody's posting forums on how to do word processing.
right.
And I think that's where this is going to end up going, is it's going to be so obvious that we're not, this is going to be obsolete. But yeah, we'll keep posting topics up there.
Mhm.
And you're welcome to post your questions and topics there too.
Yep. Anybody? Any questions?
Questions,
speak up.
comments?
Don't be afraid. Don't be scared.
Yeah.
Don't get scared now.
I think if
Alright.
you look at the website, you will see step by step how to use some of the tools that we've been sharing here today, with detailed lesson plans, how you can do with a classroom or how you can do things on your own. So don't miss those. I will send the links again.
Yep.
Mhm.
All right. Well, if
Hey,
anybody has any
everybody.
questions, thank you guys for being here and being a part of this. I think hopefully it was informative. If you're still here, my biggest hope and goal and takeaway from this is just go try it. Just
Go try it.
go get started. Even if it's over your lunch period, get on ChatGPT, you literally just type it in the website and just start talking to it and see what you can come up with. Have fun with it, you know. These tools are fun to use and things like that. So yeah, before we sign off, Neil, anything else you want to jump in and say?
Hey, thanks. And if anybody has any questions, you can also contact me at the website or Ian. We'll put our contact information there.
Yep.
So appreciate everybody being here today.
Ron, our resident newbie, any encouragement?
I just can't wait till we have a rotation workshop that's AI focused for a Bible story.
Sounds like Ron's volunteering for an AI workshop. So
Yeah, I mean, in our writing team, we always write computer lab workshops,
mhm.
and I mean, this is another tool that workshop can use, and maybe it eventually become the tool. Yeah, that's a great idea, Ron. I'm putting you in charge of that one.